So I'm back again with another Ask Me Anything question from someone in my community. I'm going to read another question now. So this one's all about self-esteem, which is a topic I love. So yeah, this is a question from Rob. He says, "Dear Lindsay, I feel like I've suffered from low self-esteem my whole life. I have a good job, happy marriage, 2 great kids, but I still don't feel good about myself. Nothing I achieve helps me to feel better about myself. What am I doing wrong?" So this is a wonderful question. And I'm going to use a visual metaphor to help explain my answer, because I feel like this can be such a slippery subject for almost all human beings. I think I very rarely meet someone who doesn't have some version of either low self-esteem or not feeling good enough in a certain area of their life going on. So it might, quite often people will feel quite okay about work, but they don't feel good enough in their relationship, or they might feel good enough as a parent, but they don't feel good enough as a partner, or as a daughter, or as a son, or something like that. So this is really quite common and far-reaching issue, I think, that we as humans have to navigate. So I'm going to use this cup as a metaphor for us as a human being. So I want us to imagine that, so with a cup, this cup currently holds a cup of green tea, but I could also put in this cup, I could put in water, I could put in squash, I could put in hot milk, put in hot chocolate, put in coffee, I could put in juice, I could put in alcohol, I could put in any number of fluids into this cup. And the fluid can constantly change. The liquid that's in it can constantly be changed. But what doesn't happen is the cup doesn't change. So regardless of what the cup is holding, the cup remains the same. It's still got the same black pattern, it's still strong, it's still just untouched, it's still totally neutral according to whatever liquid is going on inside. And this is one way of looking at it, really the whole of human experience. If we're going to look at it in terms of self-esteem. So what happens is we have so what we're going to say in this is the fluid, the liquid that's inside the cup is our thinking, our thoughts, the energy of thought that flows through us all the time and brings us our feelings. So when the liquid in the cup is saying things like, you should be better at your job, you're not a great husband, you know, there's just something wrong with you, that you've got all of this stuff on the outside and you don't feel good enough. You've got all of that swimming around in your thinking. And this liquid, so the liquid in our brain, can get very habitual. So we all have places that our minds like to go, all have places, you can put that down for a moment, all have places where our thinking likes to go. And when we've suffered from something our whole life, as Rob has said, that he suffered from low self-esteem, it means that his thinking, your thinking, Rob, is much more likely to slip down that road than someone else's whose self-esteem has been pretty high or confident most of their lives. But what we want to see is that the sum total of this thing we call self-esteem or feeling good enough is totally and utterly made of whatever is the content of the liquid. So according to whatever liquid is in the cup will be how you feel about yourself. So there will be times when something's gone right and our thinking said, oh, you did that really well, or oh, I've got that promotion, or you know, all of those kind of outside stuff. When things look like they're going well on the outside and our thinking matches, then we get to have feelings of good self-esteem. But when something's wrong, or something hasn't gone our way, or our thinking just drops and we get in a low mood and it's the habitual place for it to go, then that's what we get to feel. And our self-esteem feels low. It feels like we're not doing well enough in life, we're not good enough. And that's what we get to feel. But what I want us to see in that is that true self-esteem, true feeling good enough, doesn't come from the content of the liquid. Because that's always fluctuating, that's always changing, and will change according to our mood, whether we have high self-esteem, low self-esteem, or will really be according to our thinking that's going on. But there's another place that we can look for feeling good enough. Now, it's not really that good enough is even a concept here, but for the purposes of this metaphor, what I'm going to suggest is is that as human beings, being the container for all of this thinking, all of this experience, the container, the cup, is always okay. There's nothing we need to do to improve the container or the cup. There's nothing we need to do to make it feel better. There's nothing we need to do to make it more worthy. There's nothing that we need to do to make it feel good enough. It isn't even a concept that even really sits there, because it's just totally whole, totally okay. Nothing needs to change in the cup or the container. So when we can really see this, that the momentary fluctuations of our thinking is going to be high self-esteem, low self-esteem, and we can get stuck in believing our thinking and believing that we've got low self-esteem because the contents of our cup is habitually about how we're not good enough. But when we can pull back from that and see, oh, I am the cup. There's nothing I need to do to make this cup any better than it already is. I'm the container for these experiences. Then we don't need to worry if we've got a bit of low self-esteem thinking going on. And this is really the reason why, and this is why it's something I love to work with people on, is when like you get to a stage like Rob has in his life where he's got the job, the relationship, the kids, he's ticked all of the boxes, but still there's this nagging feeling of not being good enough or low self-esteem. And that's because the good enough of the cup, the self-esteem of the cup, the okayness, the fullness of the cup, doesn't come from the outside. So all of our experiences, so the house, the job, the children, all the stuff we think about that's in the cup, that's the liquid, and that fluctuates. But that's why no amount of lining up your ducks in a row, achieving all of the things we're told to achieve to make us happy is going to affect us. No amount of outside stuff is going to make us feel good about ourselves. And that's good news, because that means we don't have to chase all of the outside stuff in order to feel good enough, because the cup is inherently good enough. The cup has inherent high self-esteem. I mean, it doesn't really, but it doesn't even want to know about self-esteem because it just knows that it's whole, complete, utterly good enough, and nothing needs to change. And so this is why we can get caught in the trap of looking outside of ourselves to raise our self-esteem. Our mind will love this. Our minds adore this. They love to go, if you just get slimmer, if you just get fit, if you just earn more money, if you just have the right relationship, if your children are well behaved, then you'll feel good enough about yourself. But all of that is the fluid, the liquid in the cup, the tea, the juice, the orange. And what we really want to pull back and see is that 100% of the time, our inner self, the container that we are, is 100% okay. So I hope this has been helpful, Rob. Do follow up if there's any other questions, or indeed if you have any other questions following this, please leave me a comment. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do share it. It's something I'm really passionate about. People knowing their goodness, their wholeness, their worth, that they're totally okay. And please do subscribe to my channel, then you'll hear when I record new videos like these. Thank you so much for watching.